This week on I Watched This as an Adult Movie Reviews, I review the 2004 sports drama $1 Million Baby, and I also give an unfortunate, impromptu tribute to Power Rangers actor Jason David Frank. All this and more on I Watched This as an Adult Movie Reviews.
Hey there, I'm Jim.
And I'm Matt.
I'm Dusty.
From Dad's Doing Nerd Shit.
A podcast on the Fandom Limb Media Network.
We talk about all kinds of nerdy stuff.
From Dungeons and Dragons to the MCU.
From video games to semi-current space news.
And anything else that catches our attention.
New episodes go live every Monday morning on Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
We can also be found on Facebook, Instagram, and the Twitter.
So roll the dice and join us as we discuss the things we love and the culture around being a nerd.
Go, Green Ranger, go! Go, Green Ranger, go! Goldar's gonna get you tonight! Don't let evil
Hello, and welcome to I Watched This as an Adult Movie Reviews. I'm your host, Mikkel Ford. This is episode 124, I believe. I believe this is episode 124. I'd have to go back and check probably, but I'll know once I'm done and I gotta put this whole thing together. I'll know. At the top of the segment, you guys are probably wondering, why was he playing the Green Ranger theme song? Why am I turning on this podcast about movies? He's talking about a movie that won an Academy Award, won several Academy Awards. It won several Academy Awards. And I get bombarded by the Green Ranger's theme song. Why is that? And I'm playing the Green Ranger theme song. It's a sad reason I'm playing the Green Ranger theme song. Because unfortunately, the actor that played the Green Ranger, Jason David Frank, has passed away. This is just breaking news. I found out about this from a friend of mine on social media. I just went on social media and it said rest in peace, and I was like, and it had a picture of the Green Ranger, Jason David Frank, who played Tommy Oliver, the Green Ranger. He was the Green Ranger, he was the White Ranger, he was the Red Ranger, he was the Black Ranger. Is there any other Rangers he was? I think that was it, because he played 5 different Power Rangers throughout his career. At first he was the Green Ranger, then he was the White Ranger, then he was the Red Ranger twice, and then he came back several years later to play the Black Ranger on Power Rangers Dino Thunder. But I'll get into all of that later. But I found out about this from social media, and it just took me aback, because if this is your first time listening to this podcast, you may not know that I am, and the people that do listen to this podcast know this, I am a huge Power Rangers fan. I was a huge Power Rangers fan growing up. I fell out of it like most kids did, you know, towards like the mid to late 90s. Fell out of it, got back into it as it became a underground phenomenon again, like, because I found out around 2006 2007 that there were Power Rangers conventions. You know, there's a convention called Power Morphicon, where like Power Rangers, like adult Power Ranger fans and kid Power Ranger fans can go and meet their favorite Power Rangers, and the Power Rangers sit on the panel and tell stories about what it was like on the set. It's like the Star Trek conventions. It's very much like the Star Trek conventions. How you have the Star Trek conventions and like Patrick Stewart and LeVar Burton and all those guys. Like you get like the guy that played Riker. I forgot his name. God dang it. Forgot his name. Or Jonathan Frakes. Jonathan Frakes shows up. You know, William Shatner shows up. You know, all those people. Like it's like that's what the Power Morphicon is. The Power Morphicon is pretty much like the Star Trek convention for like millennials. It's the millennial Star Trek convention, because like a lot of millennial kids grew up on Power Rangers and a lot of zillennial kids grew up on Power Rangers. So like this is where we go to see our favorite childhood heroes. But Jason David Frank was a mainstay. He showed up to pretty much every Power Morphicon there ever was, pretty much. Like he was pretty much almost always there. I've heard like stories about him, just being a nice guy, being good to the fans, he'll take pictures with them and sign stuff, and like he had the wackiest stories about the show. 'Cause I think he knew the most about the show, because like a lot of people would say that he was the heart and soul of Power Rangers. He really was, because he was there the longest. He was the longest serving Power Ranger ever, I want to say, because a lot of the originals left before him, and he lasted up. He played a Power Ranger from 1993 to about 1998. At least like 1998, like early 1997. I want to say till about like either 1998 or 1997. That's when he left. He finally left the show, and he left for a while, and then he came back in like 2002, 2003, I believe, as the Black Ranger on Power Rangers Dino Thunder. But yeah, man, this is a really, really shocking death. I did not expect to, because I hadn't been looking at the internet like this whole morning, because like I was prepping for my show. I was prepping for the show. I was watching the movie. I was getting my notes together, getting everything together. And the first thing I turn on is they say Jason David Frank dead, and I'm like, what? It just comes out of nowhere, and it was a suicide. Sadly, it was a suicide. I know that he was going through things recently. He was going through a divorce, with his wife. I think his wife accused him of adultery, I believe. I hate to throw that on top of this, but like it is a key in why this man might have taken his own life, because he was going through a divorce, and like his wife accused him of adultery. It's just sad that he went out that way, man. It's just like, cause this guy, like, I'm like, this guy was a fucking childhood hero of mine, man. Like, I wanted, just like every other, I think like it's like every other boy that grew up in the 90s, they wanted to be the Green Ranger. They wanted to be the White Ranger. Like it's just Tommy Oliver was just a badass character. This is a badass dude. Like, guy's a real martial artist. You know, like all the martial arts he did himself. Most of them did all the stunts themselves, but he was real skilled at what he knew. You know, and it's just really sad because like we also lost, because like I forgot to mention, like, because like we also lost Kevin Conroy, another like childhood hero of a lot of millennial kids. You know, like we lost Kevin Conroy. If anybody doesn't know who Kevin Conroy is, Kevin Conroy was the voice of Batman for he's been the voice of Batman for 30 years pretty much, like, and like he was still doing the voice of Batman up until the day he died. You know, so it's like really sad, and like it really hits me hard too to lose like two childhood heroes like back to back, man. You know, because I loved Kevin Conroy and I love Jason David Frank. You know, like those are my two guys growing up, man. Like I love Tommy and I love Batman. You know, so I used to watch the shit out of both of those shows. I used to love watching Batman the animated series, and I used to love watching fucking Power Rangers. So like this really hits hard, man, and it's shocking. And it just comes in the wake of the Power Rangers 30th anniversary. Like the 30th anniversary is coming up next year, and they're supposed to be doing a reunion special for Power Rangers. Like a lot of the original Rangers are showing up. Like they're in the special. Cause like there's actually a picture, a snapshot of like the original Rangers there. Also because Thuy Trang, another original Power Ranger who passed away. So that's two original Rangers that are gone now. They made a character to represent her in the Power Rangers folklore. They made a new they made a daughter for her. Actually, they made a daughter for Trini, the character. So like her daughter's gonna be a stand-in for her in the special, in the reunion special. But like you got Walter Jones who played Zach back. You're gonna have David Yost back. You're gonna have Johnny Young Bosch back. Karen Ashley's coming back, who was the second. They were the second Black and Yellow Rangers. Wasn't it? I guess they weren't able to get Amy Jo Johnson. They weren't able to get Austin St. John because Austin St. John has legal issues. Austin St. John is the original Red Ranger, Jason, and Amy Jo Johnson, the original Pink Ranger, Kimberly. You know, but and it was kind of chilling to me too. Like I go back and talking about Jason David Frank's death again. I go back and I look at that last video I saw of him that he posted on social media that I saw. I don't know if that was his last video. I saw it, and he was just talking about like he's done. He was just saying that he's done with Power Rangers. He said that's what he said, because like he was talking about, I'm tired. I've done all I could do for Power Rangers, and he has. Like he came back numerous times. Last time he came back was they had like a team up episode in Power Rangers Ninja Steel. Like he came back for that. That was like his last appearance. And like, but like he was sitting in his car. I believe he was sitting in his car, and he was saying like he's just done with Power Rangers. He was saying like, I'm done with Power Rangers. I'm not coming back anymore. I'm tired of I'm tired because he had like a shit ton of tattoos. like he had tattoos up to his neck. He was like covered in tattoos. You would have thought he was like a Yakuza member or some shit, but he was covered in tattoos. And he just said like, I'm done with Power Rangers, and he's like, I'm tired of covering up my tattoos. You know, like he's like, I've done all I could do to keep the franchise moving, to keep it going. He like, I want to move on and do other things, is what he said. He's like, I want to move on and do other things. He's like, I don't want to just be known as just the Power Rangers guy, you know. And I remember that, you know, that last video, and And I was like, wow. I was like, you look back on it, I was like, maybe that's when he thought about it. You know, maybe that's what he thought about ending his life. You know, because like this isn't the first Power Ranger that's taken his own life. A couple years ago, one of the later Power Rangers, Pua Masagiva, who played Shane, the Red Ranger on Power Rangers Ninja Storm, he ended his life like a couple years ago. I want to say this happened in like 2000. I think they want to say this happened in like 2019, maybe 2020. It was recent. It was very recent. Yeah, he ended his life. So like this is the second Power Ranger suicide. You know, and like this show has a bunch. This show is just turning into like a curse, man. Like it just has a bunch of. It just has a bunch of like sad stories now. Like what just happened to Jason David Frank. What happened to Pua? What happened to Rick Medina? Who played the Wild Force Red Ranger? He went to jail for murder. There's rumors. I'm gonna get rumors. There's rumors about Michael Capone, who was the Blue Ranger on Time Force, like sexually assaulting a young girl. You know, like there's what happened with I'm trying to remember what happened with Austin St. John. He's got legal issues going on. You know, Twee Trang not with us anymore. David Yost spilling the beans about what happened by him being bullied on the set because he's gay. You know, there's a lot of stuff that went on in the Power Rangers universe, like in on the set and in this universe. I was like, this show is not the happy-go-lucky campy show that everybody thinks it is. You know, they're like, happy-go-lucky, blah 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 blah. I'm like, this show could have an True Hollywood story. You know, like it really could. Like with all the things that have happened throughout the years with this show. Saban not paying people, like a lot of the actors walked away because they didn't get paid. You know, like there's a lot of things that's behind the scenes, like not even in front of the camera, like behind the scenes, that is like rife for like a True Hollywood story or a documentary about Power Rangers. You know, like. There's a lot of stuff has gone on behind the scenes of this show, and a lot of people have went down in the wake of being on this show, like and their afterlife after this show. You know, it's really crazy. I was just because like I look at this, I was like, damn, like another tragic Power Ranger story, because that seemed to be what was happening, because really like Twee Trang was like the only tragedy for years. You know, like Twee Trang dying was the only tragedy for years, but then after that it's just tragedy after tragedy after tragedy with this show. You know, like all the things that I named, you know, like it's just tragedy after tragedy after tragedy. And like Jason David Frank's death is just another tragedy on this show. And it's crazy, but I'm gonna stop rambling right now. I'm just gonna say, man, just like rest in peace to Jason David Frank, man. Like, dude was a childhood hero of mine. I wanted to be this dude growing up. Like, no cap, no bullshit. Like, I really wanted to be this dude growing up. And it was funny because he actually lives here in Houston, Texas. Like, he lived here in Houston, Texas. He lived, like, I want to say 30 miles, maybe 20 miles away in the neighboring city that I live in. You know, I heard, like, he lives in, like, a neighboring city of mine. I never ran into him. I wished I would have ran into him. And I told him, like, yo, bro, you're inspiration to me, man. like I grew up watching you, man. You were like a hero to me. But like I never got that chance and never will get that chance. Like, cause I never went to a Power Morphin Con because they're mostly held in California. They're mostly held in Los Angeles. You know, so I never really got the chance to go to one. You know, but yeah, man, it's really sad, man. Just real sad. And all I got to say is just like rest in peace to that man. And condolences to his family, to his wife, to his kids, everything, man. To the rest of the Power Ranger universe and the Power Ranger family, the other Ranger actors that got acquainted with him and were friends with him. You know, because like all those guys were pretty close. Like not all of them, but because like Jason did have problems with Austin, like those two aren't close, but like for the most part, that those Power Rangers actors are like they're a big family with each other whenever they see each other. You know, like they even like do things together, like away from Power Rangers I've seen, you know, but yeah, man, just rest in peace to that man. That's it. I'll be back with my review of $1 Million Baby after these messages.
Do your best, Lord, to protect. Other than that, you know what I want. There's no use me repeating myself.
Mr. Dunn?
I owe you money.
No, sir.
I know your mama.
Thought you might be interested in training me.
I don't train girls.
People see me fight, say I'm pretty tough.
Girly, tough ain't enough.
There's magic of fighting battles beyond endurance. It's the magic of risking everything for a dream that nobody sees but you. Who's your new girl?
Jeez.
Working the bag, boss.
I'm not your boss. You have bags working you.
Did you write your daughter?
Every week.
The girl seems to be coming along.
Almost like someone's been helping her.
I seen you looking at me.
Yeah, out of pity.
Don't you say that if it ain't true. If I'm too old for this, then I got nothing.
If I take you on,
I promise I'll work so hard.
you don't question me, and I'm gonna try to forget the fact that you're a girl. Now, what is the rule?
Protect myself at all times.
Good.
Find a man, marry him. People hear about what you're doing and they laugh at you.
I got nobody but you, Frankie.
Well, you've got me. Well, I made a lot of mistakes in my life. I'm just trying to keep you from doing the same.
I know, boss.
Good man to have in the corner.
Yes, he is.
Look, hey, get the hell down. You know how old I am. I just want to keep her with me.
You just protected yourself out of a championship.
Frankie, I've seen you at Mass almost every day for 23 years. The only person who comes to church that much is the kind who can't forgive himself for something.
You got a fight I don't know about?
You gonna leave me?
Never.
$1 Million Baby from 2004. Let's get into the technical first. This movie was directed by Clint Eastwood. The screenplay was written by Paul Haggis. The budget for the movie was $30 million, and the box office for it was $216.8 million. It made a lot of money at the box office. Also, especially for a small movie, like that's pretty big. You know, to have a $30 million budget and make $200 million back, that's pretty fucking big. That's not nothing to sneeze at. Also, this movie won the Academy Award for Best Picture. It won 4 Academy Awards. It won Best Picture. It won Best It won Best Director for Clint Eastwood. It won Best Actress for Hilary Swank. And it won Best Supporting Actor for Morgan Freeman. I don't know why I said his name like that. I said Freeman. I don't know why I said his name like that. But the movie has an approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes of 90%. That's pretty damn good. That's pretty much it for the technical. Let's talk about how I saw this movie as a kid. I actually saw this movie in the theater, if you believe it or not. How old was I? I think I was 17. I want to say I was 17 years old when I saw this movie. And was I 17? I think I was 17. But this was when I was at the height of my cinema snobness. Like, I was at the height of my cinema snobness. Like, snob-horrific. From the ages of like 13 to about maybe 25, maybe later than that, like probably 30. I was like really into like art house films. Like, I was a huge cinephile. I became like a huge cinephile because like when I was a little kid, I just like, you know, like what kids like. I like kid movies. I like action movies, you know, and then I would like watch whatever my parents were watching because that's what you did back in the day. They don't do that anymore. Kids don't watch whatever their parents is watching anymore because like everybody's got like a tablet. Everybody's got a laptop, you know, like does family time even exist? Because I know it doesn't even exist in my household because I try to get my daughter, I have a 6-year-old daughter. I try to get my daughter to watch what I'm watching, and she doesn't want to watch it. She just gets on her tablet and she watches what she wants to watch. She turns on Netflix or she turns on Disney Plus and watches what she wants to watch. She watches like fucking Bluey all day or some shit, you know, like, or like she watches like Japanese anime. She's really into anime, my daughter. And I try to get her to watch I can try to get her to watch something with me. And she's like, nah, you know, I don't want to watch this. You know, because like I think yesterday, I'm going off on a tangent here. Like, if you're new, this happens. Like yesterday, I tried to get her to watch Young Rock with me, and she just walked out of the room. You know, because I was like, hey, let's spend some time together. Let's watch a show. You know, like she wanted me to watch some anime stuff with her. I watched it, and I was like, okay, now let's watch something together. You know, let's watch Young Rock. And my daughter just got up and walked out of the room. And I'm like, for real? I was like, but kids don't do that anymore. It's like, it seems like kids just don't sit down and watch whatever their parents watch. Because back in the day, we watched whatever was on TV. Like, whatever our parents had on TV, that's what we were watching. Because a lot of the times there was only one television. You know, a lot of the times there was only one television. I remember growing up, we had 2 TVs, but still, I sat down and it was like a demand. You sit down and watch what we're watching from like 7 o'clock to like 10 o'clock. Cause like that was like my bedtime. I would go to bed at 10 p.m. But they would let me stay up from like 7 to 9 and then we just watch whatever. And like that's how I like a lot of the sitcoms I like, because I was watching with them. I wouldn't have liked Martin, you know, like if I watched it by myself, you know, or maybe I would have. I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, a lot of this stuff, because there's a lot of the stuff that a lot of millennial kids grew up on. Like, we like it because our parents liked it, you know. Like, that's the only reason we liked it. Yeah, man. But kids don't do that no more. They just don't sit down and watch television with their parents anymore. They just don't do it. Because, like I said, my kid just walked out of the room. She's like, I don't want to watch this. And she just walked out. I was like, for real? You know, but, you know. But yeah, man, that was my little tangent. But like I was saying, but like this is leading up to me talking about like that's what I watched before I was like 13. I watched whatever my parents watched and cartoons and all this stuff. But like once I hit 13, I became a cinephile, like a huge cinephile. I watched like a lot of art house movies. Like we used to have this theater downtown New Orleans that used to show like all the art house movies and like all the Oscar buzz movies. It used to show like all those movies. That's actually where I saw this movie. That's actually where I saw $1 Million Baby. I saw that $1 Million Baby in that theater. It was like a small little art house theater. It was like in a giant, like, not a strip mall. It wasn't a strip mall because it's in the city. Like, you have to drive into the city to go. You have to drive into the city to go see this movie. Like, to go see this movie, you gotta drive through, like, this is like in the, like, the heart of the, like, the French Quarter, you know, and around Bourbon Street. Like, you gotta drive through the French Quarter, like, through Bourbon Street, through all that stuff, and, like, there's this big, like, glass building, you know, it's like a big galleria, and it's like a big galleria, and that's where the art house was, the art, movie house was. I said the art movie house, but that's where the movie theater was. And like there was like a Sbarro's across the hall from it, you know. It was like, because like I used to eat at that Sbarro's all the goddamn time, every time, you know. That's how I remember that Sbarro's, because like it was theater and then I'm hungry, Sbarro's, you know. So it was like, let me go eat at Sbarro's. But yeah, man, that's why I saw this. That's why I saw this theater. That's why I saw this movie. Excuse me. That's why I saw this movie, and I would go to like every Friday or every other Friday at least and watch these movies because like I was such a goddamn cinephile. I kind of calmed down on being a cinema snob, you know. Like it's like the older I get, like the more I don't want to think. So like I enjoy a lot of popcorn movies now. I like a lot of the superhero stuff I go crazy about, you know, like, because like it's fun and you don't really have to think very much, but it's not as stupid, you know. Like if there's anything that's really fucking stupid, I still don't like it. Like those Fast and the Furious movies, like I can't stand those movies. Like those movies are really fucking dumb and they make no goddamn sense. But yeah, man, like I remember really liking this movie as a teen, though. I remember that. I remember going to the movies and seeing this and like, wow, this is a great movie. You know, so I remember saying. But let's see how I like this movie as an adult. First off, we start off with Luke Cage is in this movie. The actor who played Luke Cage is in this movie as a boxer. What's that actor's name is Mike Coulter. Mike Coulter is in this movie, which I didn't even realize he had been acting for this long, honestly. Because, like, you know how it, like, seems like actors, like, hit the scene out of nowhere. Like, they just come out of nowhere. It's like, oh, they're an instant success. It's like they were, like, on the street, like years before, and then all of a sudden they just lucked up and became actors, and you're like, hey, here I am, you know. But but that's not how it is at all. Like, because like you see them in something that came out like 10 years later, before they, like 10 years ago, before they were famous. You see them in something like that, and then you're like, oh, this person's been acting for a while now, you know. But like it always seems that way to me. It always seems like these people come out of nowhere, where it's just like, because like Jonathan Majors is a huge star now. You know, like that guy's a huge star now, and it just seems like he came from nowhere. But I guarantee you, he was in something before he became a huge star. I guarantee you, he just like. But it just seems like that guy just hit overnight. Like, it just seems like he just became a star overnight. But that's not how this works. Like, nobody becomes a star overnight. That's just not how this happens. But it just seems like that's how it happens. But anyway, moving on. Hilary Swank plays Maggie Fitzgerald, a female boxer looking to make it big in the boxing world. So she looks to Frank Dunn, played by Clint Eastwood, to get her to the next level and be her trainer. Right off the bat, man. Right off the bat. Clint Eastwood's character says some sexist shit to Hilary Swank. Like, just right off the bat. I don't know what's wrong with fucking Clint Eastwood, man. I guess it's just old white man, I guess. I don't know. Like, to be honest, I never really been a fan of Clint Eastwood. I've never been a Clint Eastwood fan. Like, even now, I'm not really a fan of his. Like, he always comes off to me as fake machismo. That's what he comes off to me. He comes off to me as fake machismo. Like he uses his masculinity as a shield to hide the fact that he's really a bitch. You know, like, you ever seen one of those guys? You ever seen one of those guys with like, they're like macho and tough all the time, and you're like, dude, calm down. Like you ain't got to be like this here. Calm down. We're at a fucking baby shower. You know, like, chill. You know, some shit. Because honestly, I don't think Clint Eastwood is that tough. I honestly don't think that Clint Eastwood is that tough. Like, he reminds me of John Wayne. Because, like, I heard stories that John Wayne was a coward in real life. Like, a real, like, chicken. Like, he was a coward. And I feel the same way about Clint Eastwood. Like, because it's easy to be tough in Hollywood. It's real easy to be tough in Hollywood. Because mostly everyone is a coward in Hollywood. Like, there's like bullies in Hollywood. But like a lot of people in Hollywood don't want no trouble. They don't want no trouble. They don't like being confronted. They don't want no danger. You know, they don't want that. And so, like, it's kind of easy for Clint Eastwood to like throw his weight around and everybody think he's the baddest motherfucker on the planet. But really, he's probably not. 'Cause I bet if you put Clint Eastwood in a real life or death situation, he would fold like an accordion. You know, I bet he would fold like $1 bill if you put him in a real life or death situation. If you put him in a real situation where he got to fight somebody. Like, if somebody was like, man, I ain't scared of you. You know, and he'd be like, what? You know, he would probably back off. I guarantee you, he would probably back off if somebody just say, man, I ain't scared of you. You know, I guarantee it. But he's the director here, so he makes himself look like a tough guy. Morgan Freeman is also in this movie as Scrap Iron Dupree, a former boxer and a gym assistant. He gets called a nigger by Jay Burchell in the first minute of seeing his face. It's like, it just comes out of nowhere. It's jarring. I don't even remember this in the movie. It's been a long time. It's been a long time since I've seen this movie. So like, when Jay Burchell, if you remember Jay Burchell is like the skinny kid, like Seth Rogen's like skinny friend from Knocked Up. Like, he's that guy. I think he was also in This Is the End. Like, he's one of like Seth Rogen's buddies. But like, Jay Burchell comes up to Morgan Freeman and just calls him a nigger. He just says, I don't hate niggers, by the way. And like, Morgan Freeman's like, what? And he's like, okay, it's good to know. But you know, and I was like, wow. Because like, we don't see Morgan Freeman, but Morgan Freeman's like narrating the whole thing. Like, the best thing that Morgan Freeman can do. That's what he's known for. He has that silky smooth voice that just makes all the panties wet, I guess. I don't know. But there is this clip of Morgan Freeman talking about women, where like I think he was on like Piers Morgan or something like that. And like, Piers Morgan, I guess he was like talking to him about women. And Morgan Freeman was like, hey, I ain't got to chase women, or something like that. He said, women come to me, or something like that. He said something like that. He was talking about women come to me. I ain't got to chase women. And he telling dudes like, stop chasing women. And he was just like, they'll come to you. So I think I got the I think I got the clip on my Facebook or something like that. It's a real, like, intriguing clip. You know, intriguing clip. But yeah, like, he narrates this whole movie. Like, so, like, you hear Morgan Freeman's voice, but that was the first time we see Morgan Freeman's face, is when he's being called a nigger by Jay Birchall. I'm like, wow, that's the first time we see him. Wow, great. Speaking of before they were famous, Anthony Mackie and Michael Pena are also in this movie as boxers. Michael Pena is kind of a racial stereotype. Anthony Mackie is too, but it's not as bad as Michael Pena, because Michael Pena has this, like, terrible, like, Mexican accent. You know, it's even worse than, like, the one he does in Ant-Man, which, like, that one's great. I love that one. Like, the one he does in Ant-Man is awesome. But here, it's just, like, hey man, you got to hit the bag, man. You got to hit the bag. Come on, man. You know, I was like, that is a terrible Mexican accent from a guy who's fucking Mexican. You know, it was like, you couldn't do a better accent than that. Like, wow. I'm like, you are Mexican. You could do a better Mexican accent than that. All right. But I would rather him not do it at all. Just use his regular voice. I would rather him not do it at all, and just use his regular voice. Like, his regular voice is fine. Why do you have to have a goddamn accent? That doesn't make any goddamn sense to me. But anyway, I really wish Morgan Freeman was the lead in this movie, because there is a scene with him and Hilary Swank, where, like, Hilary Swank is hitting the punching bag, and Morgan Freeman is showing her how to hit it right, because, like, she's hitting it wrong, and I think he's talking about, you're gonna break your wrist doing that or something like that. But like, she's like teaching her, and he's showing her how to hit it right, and they have great chemistry in that scene. And, like, I think it would have just been a better story to me if Morgan Freeman was the ex-boxer turned trainer that trained Hilary Swank than Clint Eastwood's character, who has no in-ring experience, you know, training her. You know, like Clint Eastwood's character is not a former boxer. Like, I think he was just a cut man. Like, he was just a dude that cuts guys' faces, and then he became a manager. It was like, what? You know, I know he's been around boxing a lot, but it just would have been I think it would have just been a more intriguing story to watch this former boxer, like, train this girl who wants to be a boxer. I think that would have been a better story to me. I don't know. I didn't write the shit, so maybe I don't know. But they love casting Anthony Mackie as a bully in, like, the mid 2000s. They just love that shit. Cause, like, I was watching this movie because Anthony Mackie is kind of a bully in this movie, because, like, he messes with Hilary Swank for a little bit. He doesn't mess with her for long, because, like, she kind of like checks him, because, like, he was talking about her titties or something like that. They said that she got little titties, because, like, he was like, oh, look at this girl. He was like, that is a girl. He was like, she got some little bitty titties or something like that, he said. And then like, Hilary Swank, like, checks him and shit. Like, she was like, I think she said, like, you on the ground so much, I would have thought that the floor had titties or something like that. She said some shit like that. But like, he is kind of the bully. He was trying to bully her. She checked him, and then he moves on to, like, Jay Birchall's character, and, like, really tries to bully him. Which I'll get to Jay Birchall's character in a minute. I'll get to him in a minute. Like, but between this and 8 Mile, like, I'm surprised that Anthony Mackie didn't get typecast as the bully character. I'm surprised he didn't get typecast as the villain, because, and he never really gave off, Anthony Mackie never really gave off tough guy. You know, he never really gave off that he never really gave off bully to me. You know, even when he played bullies, even in 8 Mile, I was like, I'm not scared of this dude, you know. I don't doubt that he's a tough guy. I'm like, I don't doubt that he's not a tough guy, but he just, and maybe that's the best thing, because I was just talking about tough guys. I was just talking about Clint Eastwood being tough guy, but he might really be soft on the inside. But that is the best way to run around in life. That is the best way to move around in life, is just to be just the unassuming guy. Because like, when people mess with you and you knock them the fuck out, then they'll know better not to fuck with you anymore. So maybe that's what Anthony Mackie gives off to me. But he doesn't really give off like outwardly tough guy. Like they always cast him as, like, they cast him as, like, there's sometimes he gets cast as a villain, and I'm like, I don't believe you, Anthony Mackie. You're a nice guy. So that's how I feel. But yeah, man, let's talk about Clint Eastwood and his sexist ways again. Like, Clint Eastwood's a sexist asshole in this movie. God damn. Like, he says that women's boxing is a freak show. Like, he says that to Hilary Swank. He was like, I'm not gonna do it. Like, women's boxing is a freak show, because like Hilary Swank is constantly trying to get him to be her trainer. She's calling him boss and all this stuff, and he's like, I'm not your boss. And she's like, all right. She's like, all right, boss. And she just like hitting the bag and shit. And she's just constantly trying to get him to be her manager. But like, he's a sexist asshole. Like, that's why I'm not sad when like when Mike Coulter leaves his ass. I'm not sad when, like, cause like Mike Coulter is his client, and Mike Coulter's like, man, I'm done with you, man. You're not getting me the fights I want. I got to leave. I got to go somewhere else. Somebody else is gonna take me to the top. I can't stay with you. But yeah, he's gone. Let's get to Jay Bertrand's character. I don't know if Jay Bertrand's character is supposed to be mentally challenged. If he's supposed to be mentally challenged, he's doing a bad job at it. He really is. He's doing a bad job at it. Like, that character reminds me of Simple Jack from Tropic Thunder. You remember when Ben Stiller played Simple Jack? I was like, he went full retard on this. I don't know if he thought he was gonna get like a Best Supporting Actor nomination for this, because he kind of knew that this movie was gonna get nominated for an Oscar. Because who knows what you're making. But sometimes you have a feeling about what you're making, and he's like, man, I'm gonna put on for this one. I'm going full retard for this. And it's just like, nah, son, it's bad. It's really bad. But it's really bad. But in the end, Frank takes Maggie on as his client, but that's only because Mike Coulter's character, Big Willie leaves him, and he has no other clients, because like, I didn't see him train anybody else but Big Willie. Like, I didn't see him train Anthony Mackie. I didn't see him train Michael Pena. I didn't see him train any of those guys. I just saw him train Big Willie. Like, Big Willie was his only client. And so he doesn't have a client anymore. That's the only reason he takes Maggie on as a client. Frank keeps bringing up the fact that Maggie is a woman. Like, he keeps bringing it up. I'm like, okay, we get it. She's got tits. Okay, we get it. And you think she's lesser than you. Like, we understand, caveman Clint. We understand that shit. You don't like women doing shit. We get it. Okay. You don't have to keep reminding us that she's a woman. We can clearly see that that's a woman. Stop reminding us that that's a woman, please. There's a boxing sequence in this movie where Hilary Swank is just like dropping girls. She just going up and then just giving them the 2-piece special, just bop, 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 just knocking them out. It's kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of funny, but like, it's actually some good stuff. Those are some good boxing scenes, like very well shot boxing scenes. And like this is actually when the movie starts to pick up. When Maggie actually starts boxing in the ring, which like happens like an hour into the movie. You know, like this is when the movie starts getting a little fun. Like Hilary Swank is doing her best in this role, like the best she could do in this role. It kind of reminded me of her role in Next Karate Kid, but with the art house shine on it. You know, I know a lot of people are like, blasphemy, Next Karate Kid, but it kind of reminded me of that. She's the young fighter who's listening to the old man who's trying to take her to the next level. It kind of reminded me of Next Karate Kid with her. She got in incredible shape for this role though. Like she is swole as fuck in this movie. Like she has an incredible fucking body in this movie. My God, like I'm surprised she doesn't have an MCU role yet. Like she shows that she could get in shape. When she wants to get in shape, she can get in shape. Like she had an incredible body in this movie. Oh, like MCU, like Marvel, call her. Like maybe she could be Tigra in the future or some shit. I don't know, because Tigra's not in the MCU yet. We could use Tigra. But yeah, I really think the second half of this movie is way better than the first. Like it's a more cohesive story, and like all those like weird characters go away, because like all those characters in the first half of the movie like really go nowhere, and they're unnecessary. Like really unnecessary. Like Anthony Mackie's character, Michael Pena's character, Jay Baruchel's character. Like I don't know, those characters just really got on my nerves, or they really don't mean anything. Because like we don't see them very often, and then when they show up, it's just like, where's this going? Where the fuck is this going? These characters are not needed. Why we fucking need these characters? I don't know. But that's just me. That's just me personally. Maggie's family is just straight white trash. Like just straight white trash. And they don't give a fuck about her. Like they're ungrateful as fuck. Cause Maggie buys her mom a house with her boxing money. And her mom is just bitching about welfare. She's just like, how come you bought me this house? If you buy me this house looks good. They ain't gonna give me my welfare anymore, or something like that. All this shit. And Maggie's just like, wait, calm down. She's like, calm down. I'm making good money. I could pay for everything. You know, like, is what she said. She's like, I could pay for everything. I could pay for your bills. I could pay for everything. I'm making good money. And her mom is just ungrateful. Like her mom is ungrateful. She got her sister there. Her sister ungrateful as fuck. Just bitching about goddamn welfare, where Maggie is just like, y'all don't have to be on welfare anymore. She's like, that's what I'm telling y'all. She's like, I'm telling y'all ain't got to be on welfare no more, because I'm making good money. I'm fucking making millions of dollars now. Fuck welfare. She's like, you know, like, but like they just stuck in that poverty mentality. You know, just stuck in that poverty mentality, and they can't think beyond the stars, because that's what poverty does to you. Like poverty doesn't make you think you could be better than what you really are. It doesn't think you could get more than what you can. You just get stuck in that. And that's Maggie's family. Maggie had the ability to even be in poverty to think more than what she is. You know, and that's what I like about that character. That character is like, I'm not going to be this for the rest of my goddamn life. She's like, I'm not going to be this. I could be more. You know, she got out of that mentality and became more. Like the rest of her family didn't do that shit, and they don't understand what she's doing. You know, like that's a part of it too. But they're also kind of ungrateful. They're kind of ungrateful, and you'll see what I'm talking about as this goes on. But as the movie goes along, Frank starts lightening up to Maggie. Like he stopped mentioning that she's a girl like all the goddamn time. You know, that's a good thing. And he also gets Maggie a title shot. She fights this woman called Billy the Blue Bear. Like she fights a woman called Billy the Blue Bear, and like she looks mean as shit. Like she be walking around with them goddamn Cleo from Set It Off braids, you know. She walking around with them goddamn prison braids in her hair, and like she fights dirty. She's a dirty fighter, you know. And like she's a dirty fighter, and like this is where I'm mentioning that she's a dirty fighter because this movie takes an unexpected turn because Billy ends up paralyzing Maggie, and we never know if it's an accident or it's intentional, you know, because of Billy's reaction to it. She has like this kind of like, you know, pedestrian reaction to it. She's not like, yeah, that's what that bitch gets. But she's also not like, oh my God, is she okay? You know, she just has this like pedestrian look on her face. So you don't know whether she did that shit on purpose or whether she did that on accident. We don't know whether it was an accident or not. And it's probably best that way, that they kept it vague. Because in any other boxing movie, Maggie would have learned how to walk again. You know, because Maggie's paralyzed. Remember, Maggie would have learned how to walk again. They would have had like a whole montage of her learning how to walk. And then she would have got back in shape and boxed again and fought Billy again and took a title. But this movie is supposed to be real, so they can't do that. So most of the rest of the movie is Hilary Swank lying in a bed, which is probably what she won the Oscar for, because like the Academy likes weird shit like that. That's what they like. Like I said, Maggie's family ain't shit. Like she gets paralyzed and her family is trying to get money out of her. Like they're trying to take advantage of her because she's paralyzed. And like it take them 6 days to go see her, by the way. They were in town the whole time, but they went to like goddamn Universal Studios or some shit, I think, instead of going to see her. Like her family ain't shit. Fuck her family, man. But there's really nothing else. There's really nothing else to this movie but Maggie lying in bed, and then like Frank comes in and Dr. Jack Kevorkian's her at the end. So that's pretty much the end of the movie. Like if you get that reference, congratulations. You know what Jack Kevorkian somebody is. This movie's not perfect. It has its flaws. The first half of this movie is slow and boring. It has characters in it that don't add anything to the story. Like the second and third half of the movie is where this movie like really picks up and gets going. Hilary Swank and Morgan Freeman give great performances. I see why they won Oscars. Clint Eastwood is actually kind of the weak link in this movie. Like his acting is a bit stilted. And it's like he walks through this movie like a fucking robot. But his direction is good. I like his direction. He really shines in his direction. Like it's a very well directed movie. Like I recommend this movie only if you like boxing movies. If you don't like boxing movies, if you don't like art house dramas, this is probably not the movie for you. You know, like if you're a student in film school, I recommend this also. Like just to watch like the direction. If you want to direct a boxing movie, you can probably learn a lot from this. I give this movie a 3 out of 5. Join me next week when I will talk about 1995's Casino. Until next time, peace.